so dark out here, you probably can't see a thing, but I just rolled in to fabulous, historic Benton Hot Springs. It's a little tiny hot springs settlement in the Eastern Sierra that I've always wanted to visit, obviously because there's hot springs there. It's kind of famous for this campground where you can camp, and each campsite has its own private hot tub. But unfortunately, that campground is booked up until about mid-2027, so I thought I'd never get a chance to soak here. But I was wrong. Some friends that kind of live out here invited me to a Victorian Christmas dinner, which is why I'm carrying, well, you can't even see, but I've got hoop skirts, I've got a little top hat, I've got petticoats, I've got the whole shebang. Everything a lady would require for a fancy Victorian Christmas dinner. Now, with all these petticoats and everything, I couldn't possibly be camping. No, I'm staying here in one of their beautiful rental houses. Okay, how lucky am I? They are letting me stay in this. Well, I gotta show you, this is a really nice house. Now, unfortunately, obviously I got here after dark, so you can't see the amazing surroundings. This house is surrounded by spectacular scenery, but the house itself isn't too shabby either, so come on inside and I'll give you a peek. Okay, before I really give you a tour, let me put these petticoats down in my bedroom, which is right back here down this hallway. Look at how nice this bedroom is. Oh my gosh. The woman who decorated this place has a fantastic eye for detail. I mean, look at these blue balls. Anyway, that was my bedroom. Now let's go back down the hallway and I'll show you the rest of this really amazing rental house. Now they have a bunch of different rental houses out here, and I guess every house comes with its own private hot spring to soak in. But this is the biggest. The rest of them are all small, cozy little kind of like cabins or cottages. This is a 3-bedroom house, and it's big enough for, gosh, well, a family reunion. I don't know, a corporate retreat. You could use this for a lot of things. I mean, you can see there's a great big living room with beautiful windows looking out at that pitch black Eastern Sierra night. The skies out here are really dark because we are in the middle of nowhere. Okay, if you've never heard of Benton Hot Spring, for reference, it's, I think, 30 miles outside the town of Bishop. If you've ever been through Bishop on US 395, there's no light pollution. There's nothing out here. So that's why it's so dang dark outside, and that's why it's such an amazing place to soak in a hot spring. Okay, anyway, back to my tour of the house. Look at this. I mean, there's a full dining room. Look at that, sumptuously laid out for Christmas. Like I said, I'm here for a Victorian dress-up Christmas party down the road at Benton Hot Springs Historic Town. There's an old, really neat old historic hotel that we're gonna have dinner at tomorrow. But, you know, you could have dinner here if you wanted. There's a full kitchen. Look at that, all the modern appliances. And then off to this side of the kitchen is the master bedroom. I have some friends coming tomorrow night and they're gonna stay in here. Look at this. This is what you could sleep in if you booked this hacienda cabin. That's the name of this particular rental cabin. It's the hacienda. Ginormous friggin' bathtub, and check out this shower. 2 more bedrooms. I already showed you the one I'm staying in, which is this blue bedroom back here. Well, then there's another bedroom over on this side. And then, of course, we've got a bathroom over here, too, which is for these 2 bedrooms to use. And I guess this is where I'll be squeezing myself into my... Well, to be honest, I didn't really have a Victorian dress. I have this really... Well, I'll just show you tomorrow. I have this awesome red satin dress that my sister actually made me. That's right, my sister actually sewed this by hand. It's got little hooks that it closes up, and oh, it's got a corset that goes under it. And like I said, it's got these giant hoop skirts. The only downside is, if you're a stickler for historical accuracy, this dress is actually in the style of the 1770s, 1780s. And the Victorian era, oh gosh, well, it was named after Queen Victoria, and she ruled from like what? I don't even know. I feel like the Victorian era is like 1850s through like 1880s. So this dress is about 100 years out of style by the time I wear it to this dinner tomorrow. But hey, we are out here in the middle of nowhere, which this town, Benton Hot Springs, it actually was founded back in the 1800s. In the the post office opened in 1886. It was a a supply town for all these mines. There's mountains all around us, and you'll see in the morning. So there's a bunch of silver mines in the area, a bunch of miners living out here. Well, there were hot springs here, and well, you know how dirty miners get. They want to take a bath every now and then, so this became a popular destination for miners. And then a few hot springs hotels opened in the early 1900s, and then the early Hollywood crew used to come out here in their Model T Fords all the way from Hollywood. We're probably only a few hundred miles from LA, so this was a very popular destination in the early 1900s with those people. Well, it kind of fell into decay over the intervening years, and I'll show you in the morning. There's a lot of really cool, busted old buildings here, but they're being very lovingly cared for and preserved by, well, I guess there's kind of like a nonprofit organization that owns this town and is trying to preserve it. But I just got here. I need to unpack my stuff. My friends that invited me out here, that live here, invited me over for dinner, so I'm gonna go slip into something more comfortable. By the way, do you like this hat? This is a sheepskin hat from Kazakhstan. I ordered it on eBay and it came all the way from Kazakhstan. Keeps you super warm. In fact, I'm so warm in this hat, I don't even need this scarf or this jacket. But again, when you see the surroundings by the light of day, you'll understand why I'm dressed like this. Good morning. It's about 7 in the morning. I think the temperature is around 37 degrees. You can probably see the steam rising off this hot spring pool. I feel like I gotta whisper because, well, this is a private tub just for guests of the house that I'm staying in. But, well, you can see it's kind of surrounded by like a privacy fence. If you stand up and peek over that privacy fence, there's a whole bunch of motel rooms and campsites right over there. So there's probably still a lot of people sleeping or trying to enjoy a peaceful morning soak like I am without hearing somebody blabbering in the background. Anyway, like I was saying, look how clear the water is. I think it's coming in at something like 106 degrees. I do have my thermometer, but it's in my car, and that would mean getting out of this awesome warm water into the 37 degree air, and I'm not ready to do that yet. Anyway, like I said, this is the private soaking tub for the house that I'm staying in. All the campsites here have their own private soaking tubs. I bet they're not as big and nice and private as this one. But the best part about this little private hot spring is they cut a hole in the fence so you can look out at the amazing view. Now, unfortunately, the sun is just coming up behind the beautiful snow-covered white mountains. So it's kind of silhouetted, but you might get the idea. You might be able to see. I'll zoom in. They're pretty shadowed. That's the fabulous white mountains. Okay, I told you we're in the middle of nowhere. If you're familiar with this part of the country, I like to call it Cal Neva because it's right on the border of California and Nevada. And something about these mysterious Eastern Sierra borderlands really speak to me. Born in California, lived most of my life in Nevada. Where would I rather be? Here comes the sun, just peeking up over that ridgeline. Here comes the sun. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Okay, I really don't want to wake up other campers with that. Anyway, it's a good thing the sun's coming up because it ought to warm things up a little bit. Today's the big Victorian Christmas party. Okay, like I think I mentioned last night, this whole hot spring resort town, and I'll show you a little bit more of it later, it's privately owned by a nonprofit organization that's trying to preserve the land in this area, keep it from being developed. I guess there's a lot of water out here, and well, where there's water, there's soon endless tracts of identical cookie-cutter suburban homes. The people who own this place, which by the way, I think it's been in the guy's family since 1903, a long time. He's an excellent steward of this land, and he doesn't want to see it, well, pardon my French, but he doesn't want to see it turn to shit. So he started this nonprofit, and this Victorian Christmas dinner that I'm going to tonight is a fundraiser for that nonprofit. So I think it was $75 a head or a plate. But it's not just dinner, it's like a whole Victorian Christmas experience. Now you'll see when I go around this town, everything here is built in the late 1800s. Yeah, the Old West style, but you know, still Victorian era. So we're all gonna get dressed up in period authentic Victorian wear, or the closest approximations to period authentic Victorian wear we might have had in our closets. And we're gonna go caroling and wassailing, or wassailing, I'm not sure how you pronounce that. And then we're gonna have dinner. So the less freezing cold it is to go wandering around caroling and wassailing, the better. So come on, sunshine. Ugh, sun's up now. Guess that means I should go back to the house and start getting dressed up as a proper Victorian lady. Sure is gonna be hard to get out of this luscious hot water. Fortunately, I've got my warm, cozy bathrobe and my fluffy Kazakh hat. Okay, before I go back to the house, let's take a quick peek around the grounds and some of the other hot springs. Oh, there's the campground over there. You can see people camping. Oh man, that is so cool. Have your own campsite in this beautiful landscape with your own private hot tub. Oh, I can see why this place is booked up until 2027. Oh wow, look at how cool these hot tubs are. No smoking anything. All these little trails through the sagebrush, and it smells absolutely amazing. Look how cool this old wagon is. This is probably original from the days when I think this was like a working cattle ranch. Holy cow. That thing is old. Oh, look, and another tub. Oh my god, look at this tub. Man, I can't believe no one is in any of these tubs. Where is everybody? Okay, I'm all duded up like I'm straight out of 1865. Merry Christmas! Unfortunately, the weather took a turn for the worse. Look at the White Mountains now. So, yeah, it's chilly. And yeah, the wind is ruining my perfectly coiffed hair. But hey, I think I'm still gonna have a blast. Holy cannoli! It's a winter wonderland. Oh, that's right. Last night, while we were sleeping, after I got back from that Victorian Christmas party, a huge snowstorm rolled in. And would you look at the valley now? How about that? This really is the definition of winter wonderland. And you know what that means. It's time for another soak in the hot spring, in the snow. How about that? Golly, look at that view. Man. I could stay in this hot spring all day, especially because the water is so kind of silky feeling, and I guess that's because it has like a really high silica content. Not sure how that makes water feel so silky, but apparently this the source of this hot spring comes from way, way, way deep below a volcano. So it's Well, apparently you can drink it, which is unusual for any hot spring water. You certainly can't drink the hot spring water where I come from, but this is some kind of special magic water. And that might be part of why it's so seductive and why I don't want to get out. But the snow on the ground might be the other reason. But I gotta get out because I want to do a little quick walk around this little town before it gets dark so I can show you some of the amazing old buildings we went in last night as part of that Victorian Christmas party. Wow, looks like I got out of the tub just in time. It's starting to snow. I don't know, maybe not. The sun came back out. Anyway, there's plenty of snow still on the ground, and it's just a beautiful day to go for a quick walk and tell you all about what I did last night. It was too dark to shoot much footage. It was too cold to shoot much footage. And, well, I didn't want to keep handing my camera to other people and making them shoot me full length, so unfortunately I didn't get any footage of me really in my full outfit, but I was all duded up. There was about 30 people at this party, and they were all duded up in Victorian clothes. It was really neat to see how many people, first of all, had Victorian outfits and put them on and drove all the way out here to come to this party. So we started out here at the Hot Springs Inn, which is the for-profit little hot spring resort that they operate here, but everything else is non-profit, historical buildings that they're trying to restore and, well, protect from development. And even though, yeah, it's a commercial for-profit hot spring resort, well, it's a lot less fancy than it might be. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be real easy for them to turn this into a $500 a night Condé Nast Traveler, you know, world-class hot spring retreat. But they keep it pretty simple. I mean, the prices are pretty reasonable. I think the campsites are $75 a night, and the rooms, well, the house that we're staying in, I think, goes for $275 a night, and it sleeps like 6 people. And it comes with that private soaking tub. So I really think this is a amazing value. And I think I mentioned earlier, there's little cabins scattered around all through this valley that are rental cabins. And they all have their own private hot tub. So if you wanted to come someplace really quiet and just, you know, write a book or get over a breakup or just think about stuff, this would be an awesome place to go. Okay, anyway, last night we all walked along this street in our Victorian clothes, in the dark, shivering and chilly, but in fine spirits after the champagne we had there at the little opening ceremony. And then as we walked down the highway, we all sang Christmas carols. We were caroling, that's right. Some better than others, but you know what? What we lacked in technique, we made up for in enthusiasm. Oh my God, it was so much fun. But it was really cold, and it was kind of drizzling, so we didn't carol very long. I guess originally the plan was we were going to go around all these different houses out here and sing carols, but oh gosh, it was just too dang cold. So what we ended up doing was they split us into 2 groups, group 1 and group 2, and we went to 2 different destinations. That historic house there, which is actually where the people who own this resort live, and then this place over here. Okay, this place over here is called the Wonderhussy Hotel. You might be able to see the sign there. And when I got here, I was wondering what the heck Waiwera means. It's a New Zealand name. I think there's another hot spring in New Zealand called Waiwera. And so when this hot spring was discovered by the white man, well, I guess it reminded them of the one in New Zealand. So back in 1904, there was a hotel here. Well, obviously it was long abandoned and started falling into disrepair, but these people are fixing it back up. And so they had it all decorated inside. We went in and had some treacle, delicious treacle, Victorian treacle. If you've ever had that, it tastes kind of like gingerbread. It was really good. And we had some hot cider with rum, and then we had some eggnog, and we all just kind of stood around and played some games and told some stories and, well, talked about history and the Victorian era. Anyway, when we were done in there, we went across the street to this house, and over here we had meat pies and wassail, and we played these Victorian parlor games, which were way more fun than you think they would be. Okay, Victorian era parlor games. The Victorian era was like the squarest, most prudish era of them all. Well, apparently because it was so square and so prudish, and people couldn't really talk to a member of the opposite sex or touch, God forbid, a member of the opposite sex if they weren't married, they had these weird parlor games that allowed them to get close together without, you know, being naughty. And well, like there was this one where everybody had to sit in a circle and pass this little thing behind their backs to each other. And one guy sat in the middle and he had to say stop. And then he had to try to guess who had the little thing behind their back when he said stop. You know, good, clean, old-fashioned fun. Okay, anyway, after we finished playing those parlor games, we all, both groups, 1 and 2, went across the street here to this really cool, and sorry the sun is behind it, it's backlit. It's a really cool store, an old store and gas station that was built in 1852, or I guess the town was founded in 1852. The gas station and store, I think, are from later. Anyway, it's an amazing vintage store in there that had been closed for many, many years, but again, these people fixed it up and they had it decorated for a Victorian Christmas dinner with these long tables, you know, with place settings and holly and ivy and lights and little Victorian crackers, you know, those poppers that you pull and there's like a prize in the middle. Man, it was more fun than I've had in a long time. And guess what? They do this every year. They have a Victorian Christmas dinner, or I guess I should say they're going to do this every year. This was the first annual one, and they only had room for about 35 people, so it's small. You got to book it fast. But I'll tell you what, I'm definitely booking it next year because it was amazing. Anyway, that's pretty much all there is to Benton Hot Springs, but even though it's small, there's a lot of really interesting stuff packed into a tiny area. Oh, look. Looks like a duck or a little bird was walking through the snow. How about that? Anyway, yeah, there's all these funky old cars, funky old antiques, funky old buildings, and hot springs. What's not to like? I will definitely be back here, and not just for the Victorian Christmas party. I'm coming back here to soak.